Marcus was 41 days away from a heart attack, and he had no idea. He just thought he was tired. Everyone around him was tired. That's what building a company felt like, or so he believed. 90-hour weeks, sleeping on the office couch, energy drinks instead of meals. And the metrics? The metrics were beautiful. Revenue up, users up, investors calling him a machine, a visionary, a guy who doesn't quit. But here's the question nobody asks until it's almost too late. What if the thing that makes you successful is also the thing that's quietly killing you? This is the story of how one founder discovered that the entire culture of hustle, the thing he'd built his identity around, was a lie, and what happened when he finally stopped. Stick around, because the ending isn't what you'd expect. His company didn't fall apart when he slowed down. It grew faster, and by the end of this video you'll understand exactly why. Marcus started his company, a logistics software platform called Rootflow, in his university dorm room. He was 23, broke, and convinced that the only thing separating him from billion-dollar founders was effort. So he gave everything, every hour, every weekend, every birthday, every holiday, every relationship that quietly faded because he was too busy. For 5 years, this worked, or it seemed to. Rootflow grew from 3 customers to 300, then 3,000. Marcus became the poster child of his startup accelerator, the founder other founders pointed to and said, "That's what dedication looks like." He wore exhaustion like a badge. If someone asked how he was doing, he'd laugh and say, "Sleep is for people who don't have goals." It got applause. It got him on stage at conferences. It got him a magazine cover with the headline, "The Man Who Never Stops." But behind that headline was a man whose hands shook in the morning, whose chest sometimes felt tight during meetings, who hadn't seen a doctor in 4 years because, in his words, "I don't have time to be sick." If you've ever felt like slowing down means falling behind, like rest is something you have to earn, you need to hear what happened next. And if this story is hitting close to home, do me a favor. Hit that like button right now. Not for me, for the version of you that needs this reminder today. The health scare came on a Tuesday. Marcus was in the middle of a board meeting, presenting Rootflow's best quarter yet, when his vision blurred and his left arm went numb. He thought it was stress. He tried to keep talking. His co-founder, watching him sweat through his shirt in an air-conditioned room, called an ambulance before Marcus could finish his sentence. At the hospital, the diagnosis wasn't a heart attack, not yet. The doctor called it a cardiac event triggered by chronic stress and exhaustion, a warning shot, the kind of thing that either changes your life or precedes the thing that ends it. Marcus lay in that hospital bed for 2 days, staring at the ceiling, replaying every all-nighter, every skipped meal, every "I'll rest when we hit the next milestone." And he realized something terrifying. There was no next milestone. There was always another one. The finish line he was running toward didn't exist. He'd been sprinting toward a horizon that kept moving. When he got out, his first instinct, the old instinct, was to apologize to his team for falling behind and dive straight back in. But his co-founder, a quieter, steadier woman named Priya, said something that stopped him cold. She said, "Marcus, look at the dashboard. While you were in the hospital, the team shipped 2 features, closed 3 deals, and nobody panicked. The company didn't need you to almost die. It needed you to trust it." That sentence sat with him for weeks. Marcus started reading, not startup books this time, but research on performance and recovery. He found studies on elite athletes, surgeons, and pilots, all pointing to the same uncomfortable truth. Human beings are not machines that produce more output with more hours. Past a certain point, exhaustion doesn't just fail to help. It actively destroys judgment, creativity, and the very decision-making that founders need most. He thought about every bad call he'd made in the last year. The product launch rushed out 2 weeks early because he was too tired to wait. The key engineer who quit after Marcus snapped at him during a 2 a.m. deploy. The investor meeting he'd nearly slept through. All of it traced back to the same root. A brain running on fumes doesn't make good decisions. It just makes fast ones. So Marcus did something that terrified him more than the hospital had. He told his team the truth. He called an all-hands meeting and said, I've been selling you all a lie. I told you that working until you break is dedication. It's not. It's recklessness, and I almost paid for it with my life. We're changing how we work, starting with me." He set a hard stop at 6 p.m. He took weekends fully offline. He went to therapy, something the old Marcus would have called soft. He started sleeping 8 hours, and at first, it felt like failure, like he was cheating. Like somewhere, a competitor was working through the night while he slept, and that competitor would win. But here's the twist. Nobody at that accelerator stage ever told him. Rested people make better decisions faster. With less time in the office, Marcus started spending more time thinking, actually thinking, about strategy instead of drowning in busy work. Meetings got shorter because everyone showed up sharper. The team, watching their founder model boundaries instead of burnout, started taking their own time off without guilt. Sick days dropped. So did turnover. 2 engineers who'd been quietly job hunting decided to stay. And the metrics? The thing Marcus had sacrificed everything for? In the 18 months after his health scare, Rootflow grew faster than it had in the 3 years before it. Not despite the change, because of it. If there's one thing I want you to take from Marcus's story, it's this. Ambition and rest were never enemies. The lie hustle culture sells you is that they're opposites, that you have to choose between caring about your work and caring about yourself. But burnout isn't dedication. It's a ticking clock. And the people who build things that actually last are the ones who learn to walk away from the desk before their body forces them to. So here's my question for you, and I want you to actually sit with this for a second. Where in your life are you treating exhaustion like a badge of honor? What's the next milestone you're telling yourself you'll rest after? And is it ever actually going to come? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one, and honestly, some of the most powerful stories on this channel come from people just like you, sharing their own version of Marcus's story. And if this video made you rethink even one thing about how you're living right now, subscribe. Because we're telling more stories like this one every week about people who learned the hard way so you don't have to. Marcus didn't become successful because he almost died. He became successful because he survived it and chose to change. Don't wait for your 41 days. Start today.